Record to this computer. What's up, guys? It is Sheen Trades with TraderLink, and today we'll be going over a market review and how we basically caught 800% on the 5,300 calls. So let's get into it. Right now I'm gonna go in by marking my buys and average downs. So mark up. This candle was the initial buy. 1038 was the next buy. 35. So like we're gonna go to a 2-minute actually. 38. 757. So this candle next buy was 829 and 839. 29, 839 here. Okay. So these are our buys. All throughout the way down. And then first sell was 1115, just to mark it all out. Right here. Second sell 17, 20, 21. Okay, we're just gonna mark it to the last sell. 30. 1130 was the stop out. Right here. Okay, that was the first sell. This is the last sell. So everything in between this got sold. So starting off with today, let's actually open up Liquidos's YouTube. Nope, that's the Eminem song. Never mind. This one. Okay. So let's go over it. So obviously we don't have footprint. I might ask Liquidos to swap out, maybe get rid of this Vana, get rid of Delta, and get rid of Oma for footprint so we can kind of record it a little bit more in tune with what I pay closer attention to. But in the morning, the first thing I send out obviously is always the vol reversion levels. As you can tell, they're marked pretty cleanly. This one was respected very well, right? All throughout the day, support, support, support. And then when we came back, resistance. And then when we broke back above it, right, acted like support here, acted like support here. And then the next thing to pay close attention to, I didn't send it. Where did I send it? I'm pretty sure. I know I sent it from either 50. Neg Delta holding that up. No. Analysis. Okay, maybe I just didn't send it in then. Okay. But when we were on live, I was talking basically about the footprint chart. For those who were on there with us, they kind of I'm sure you guys remember, right? We had 15-minute candles, every single 15-minute candle. I think there were like 6 or 7 of them. You send the vol reversion at 6:32 a.m. after market open, since these are true instead of pre-market where levels continue. Yeah, they get sent out at 6:31 whenever we get the spot price, and I send you out that. Like you can see in the beginning what spot price it uses as the opening value. And then that's where we get these levels. But okay, back to what I was saying. On footprint, basically, this was our best friend today, right? We had Gex flip later on as we were pushing up. So I want to get more towards the end of the day because we were falling down pretty much all day. And why did I hold essentially is what we're looking for. When did we start upticking? Okay. Right here. So personally, when I see something, I think we hit fit like 60. Yeah, there was a negative gamma wall right here at 60, and we couldn't really get below that. So number one, right? These are like the levels that you want to mark on your chart, 60 and then 40, as well as 50 here. So like these were in increments of 10, right? So obviously if you can't get below a level, then you're going to want to be waiting either to long or to go short if we do break below, and you could target different levels, right? But number one, we were holding right here, right at the 60 level, and then we had Gex flip right here. I believe this is 80, 80. Let me zoom in a little. Yeah, so 60, 65, 70, 75, right? So that's Gex flip. 70 to 75 here. And right here, even you'll see later on this changes. 75 becomes Gex flip on both. So that was the main thing. So let's go keep watching until we get to 75. Okay, so this is 75, right? You can already tell this is the Gex flip. How? Because when you zoom in right here, negative, it goes from positive to negative, right here, negative to positive, right? So that being said, Gex flips always act like support and resistance. As you can tell, it's marked right here as well, right? So every time we had approached this Gex level, I wish I recorded the live stream, fuck, because then we could see the delta differences. Well, the session's currently being recorded. So as soon as we got to the Gex level, right, every time we approached it on the footprint chart, we had a negative delta, right? And for those who are on live, you guys should remember, right? Because I pointed it out. I said every single time, I don't think we're going to break above this because as of right now, we don't have any negative delta. And I think the only time we break above it is if buyers take control on the footprint chart, right? Meaning if we get a positive green candle on the 15-minute time frame on the footprint chart with a positive delta. So it was like every single candle going up to this was negative. So even all these ticks, like this was negative, 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 this is negative, negative. And then this one finally this was the green one that was actually positive. And this is what I was saying on live is like, okay, we may not get that move up. The only way I see us getting that move is if we see Delta actually pick up, right? And I said 5,300 seems like the upside target for today. I'm personally longs looking to swing puts overnight at end of day. I personally changed my mind at the end. I sent that out. But let's see. That was really the main watch for today was like, okay, if we can get above 75, then we're going to tap 80, right? Then above 80, we started seeing 5,300 pickup. Above at 90, we saw 5,300 pickup. And at a certain point, when we rejected this level, remember what I always talk about. I stress if there are no pickups above us, then I don't think we go past that, right? There's no interest. What I mean by no pickups are no strikes that are showing on the dashboard. So if we go back to the YouTube video and we get to the point in which we start pumping up and reject, right? Look, it's just 5,300. It is literally just 5,300, right? There's no other interest. So when we get to 5,300, that is the main target, right? My main target was 95 because I always play it safer on the safer side of things and target 5 points below the main level because that's when dealers can start picking up. Because once again, gamma exposure's curve is at the money, so its effects come into play at the money. Okay. Right. So continuing forward, watching this, 5,300, you'll see us reject really hard. See, we start getting there and we just couldn't get above it, right? And once again, no pickups, right? As we're here, there's nothing above us. There's nothing above us, right? Usually what you'd like to see is something like this, like 15 matches the height, right? Or 25 matches the height. You want to see something along the lines of a pickup above in order to show that dealers are changing up their position to let SPX go higher. If there's no pickup above, then the odds that we push up are slim to none, right? Keep it very basic. We always keep it very simple. On top of that, being bullish today, DDOI presented sold puts, right? For those who know what sold puts are, that's a bullish position. So I didn't think we would go low. If we kept going lower, no matter what, I still think we would get a pop up towards the end of the day. On top of that, from a charting perspective, on ES, we had equal highs that still never got tapped. Pickup is a primarily bigger allotted gamma bar, right? Yes, that is correct. I'd been targeting these equal highs for a very, like, since yesterday. Like, I thought, like, I got bagged on this move down because I longed 80 on SPX, right? Thinking that we'd target equal highs and we never got there. So once we didn't get there, I figured it would be time to go up. And on top of that, there was okay, there it is. There's some SMT happening, right? If you look at ES and NQ, right? You guys always hear me. I pay attention to SMT, right? Took out that low, same low marked at the same time, not taken out. So for me, it just made sense to continue to go higher unless we violate that. If we had violated that, then I would have thought maybe we would target more to the downside, right? Maybe go London lows instead of Asia highs. But London lows actually got taken out at the close. It seems like most of the time when we're in a heavy negative environment and Vana is a huge bar above 5,300 today, it acts as a magnet in your end of day. Have you noticed this since you've been using the data? Personally, I don't use Vana as that kind of end of day magnet. If anything, I would pay closer attention to something like Charm, right? Like prior to this rally, let's see what the Charm figure was. Actually, not that. It's like right around 80, minus 100,000. What was it at the lows? Yeah, so it's around 100,000. Usually, you like to see a little bit more, but still overall, like Charm rallies towards the end of day always play a big role. Especially as you get closer to expiration and meaning closer towards the end of the day. But once again, 5,300. So even any sort of draw away from it, like here, 5,300, as you notice, is still a very big bar. And then if you want to pay even closer attention to the Gex flip, look at where we bounced, right? That Gex flip got used as support. So once again, just very little things. Gex flip at 75, right? It broke above. Same thing with right here. We're at Gex flip now, right? This is 80, 75. So 75 is Gex flip. And we bounced pretty much exactly to a T right at 75, right? SPX 75. So just little things, the more you pick up, and keep in mind, like you may not spot it, but at least have it on your chart so you remember, right? Because that level was marked since when we were as soon as we started pushing up. So then I left that one there. Thank God we didn't hit 5,300, but I did say something else to Gio and Vince. But either way, like it worked out very well. You know, these are one of the situations where it's like you have to believe in your own conviction, especially like we had the other part is like if this didn't work out today, like I would have been pretty upset because not only that, like everybody was in long with me. Like I was in very, very long. So since there are no higher Gex bars at over 5,300 expecting to be resistance, right? Yes, that is perfect. That is a perfect way to put it. Exactly. So we took contracts basically like these contracts hit like 0.35. I think my last buy was 0.6, 0.65 down here. And then I basically just held them. At that point, they're so pissed like cheap. Like, okay, think about it like this, right? If they're at 0.35, and even if you have like $1,000 on the table, dude, you may as well just let that $1,000 go to zero. Why the fuck would you sell out of those? Like, it doesn't make sense to sell out of those. They're so cheap, so they're practically worthless. So there's no point to sell out of those. So like, if you size in for zero on any sort of SPX play, like, don't ever sell out of it at the bottom, especially if you tell yourself you're sizing for zero. Um, and we were in a negative environment because we were pretty much all day minus 2 billion. Yeah, low volume. It's relatively low volume, but keep in mind, like negative environments always include what? Higher volatility. So once we started getting that move up, you know, vol picked up. So I really wish I had footprint chart because then that could really go over like deeper what I was paying closest attention to. What situations can you describe where charm, Vana, speed, um, are used or a huge impact in your decision making to get calls or puts? Do you use OPEX week and non-OPEX week? Yeah, so like since Vana came in, like what we're starting a new month post OPEX week, is the strongest for Gex, right? So the 17th. So this week, 20 to 24 of May, that's the strongest for Gex. That's when I will completely ignore Vana Charm personally, right? You can still watch it, but personally, that's what I just pay attention to. Actually, I want to see something else too when we're okay. Pay attention to the IB skew, the yellow line, right? As soon as we start pushing up, notice how the right side gets a little bit flatter, right? The left side starts getting a little bit steeper as soon as we continue to push up, right? Look at that. So when we start getting up higher and pushing up even stronger, you'll realize like, okay, IB skew is flattening out on the call side. But something to keep in mind today, like call premiums were holding a lot better than put premiums. That's always another good tell in terms of like, okay, our calls bottoming out even though we're going lower, or our puts bottoming out as we go even higher, right? So paying attention to whichever side is also like creating a base for itself is always important. When you say negative environment, where is that shown? Negative environment is shown right here based upon this. So it says total minus 3.18 billion. So that puts us in negative. Total minus 2.7 billion. Negative. I remember you saying negative environments dealers want to sell more on support and buy more into resistance, but in a positive environment, they want to sell resistance and buy support. You have to think more about it, not so much support and resistance, but overall price action. In the sense of like, okay, in a negative environment, dealers are selling the dips, right? Continuing, and they're playing with price action. And then say, and they're selling the dips and then buying the rips in a negative environment. But in a positive environment, vice versa. They're buying dips and they're selling rips. What do you consider a base level for call or put options? It's just like a support and resistance kind of like you can draw it out like that. So like if the call option is like basing out something like right here, or like as we're moving down, the call options don't lose much value. Do you look at speed daily? If not, then if on a charm, I personally never watch speed. That's just my personal opinion. I just it doesn't play a big role in actually any role in what I trade. Earnings are always like hit or miss in my opinion. Like you need the thing is with using Gex on single name tickers, it's very difficult because how do I put it? Because there's not a lot of not liquidity, but not enough money funneling into those options. Like if you see the amount of money moved into SPY or SPX or QQQ in comparison to like even Nvidia for that matter, Nvidia is like one of those stocks where it kind of shows, but still at that point it's not much, right? So even SPY at like 1.33, if you go to Nvidia, it should be a lot less. Yeah, see half a billion. So it's not even that much money being moved around in comparison. So with single name tickers, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Are there advantages of charting SPX versus SPY in terms of data accuracy here? Yes, you always want to use SPX. Why? Because when it comes to SPX options, it takes up roughly 16% of the options market cap in terms of the amount of money, right? So in comparison to even SPY and QQQ. And to put some perspective on the amount of weight that SPX takes up, that is 16%, right? S&P top holdings. Nvidia is the top holding and it takes up 5%. Microsoft is the top holding since as of May 2014 and it takes up only 7%. Right? So these are very like they're remedial in comparison, which is why SPX data is so accurate and why it basically holds this much weight. Does that make sense, Strut? Do you use TL on weekends and are levels shown via the data? I don't bother using TL on weekends. The only time is on a week, like on a Sunday, I will take a aggregate amount. Like let's say it's Sunday right now and we take Monday through Friday. Then I can basically get a basis, right? You'll see if I scroll up. Where is it? I sent something out on Sunday. What date was Sunday? June 2nd. Okay, so like this is Sunday, June 2nd. Outlook of the week, seeing a lot of exposure at 5,300, a definite interest at 5,325. Seems like we could be seeing all-time highs this coming week, especially with data releases. Seeing this type of data makes me may just have to switch up. With that being said, though, I will base it on charts, on what the charts tell me every day. We'll kill it this week. But yeah, on Sundays, I'll take an aggregate view of the data. I tried using SPY today and it was frustrating day, but then again, I suck at this right now. I would highly recommend just using SPX and trading SPY. Like you can do that. It's as easy as doing like this. Go to SPY chart, fucking get this indicator up. I'll just use a different one. Hold on. Brain not braining. Hello. Indicators. You can use this SPY SPX ES price converter, and it'll literally take your SPY levels and then you change the input to SPX. I personally put this offset to 10 so you can see the value. And look, you'll have your SPX levels and whatnot, and they'll move with the chart. On the TradingLink gamma settings, we have the option for raw, skew adjusted, D adjusted. When should we use each? I always keep raw and ABS and D adjusted. I never have skew up personally. Can you show how to spot D adjusted gex, ABS D gex, and gex flip on different data charts? ABS, okay, I talked about this again. ABS is this one. It's the largest exposure on D adjusted, right? Make sure your chart's on D adjusted. It's the largest on that one. And make sure it's split. So it's delta adjusted, split, and it's the largest exposure on both. That is ABS D gex. D adjusted gex is just the same, it's just this chart layout. Gex flip is basically this. When you see a level, god damn it. Hold on, let me refresh. Let's pull aggregate so it's easier to spot. Oh my goodness, why is it like this? It's been glitching out. Okay, it's this. So when you zoom in, it's when it goes from a negative to a positive, and that will the gex flip. That's where it is. That's literally what it is, where the chart flips from negative to positive. What sets the overall sentiment of the day to you? Do you have things lined up like a cheat sheet, buy, buy, sell, sell? Personally, no. The one thing that sets it apart for me is where is the largest exposure on delta adjusted. So I pay the most attention in terms of direction for me is always going to be absolute D adjusted gamma exposure, which is ABS D gex. Why? Because that acts like a magnet. Absolute gex acts like a magnet. Absolute D gex acts like a magnet. They're both the same thing, the same concept, right? Largest one. So it'd be 5,300 here, 5,300 here. In certain occasions, you'll see them differ, like on an ODTE basis. But personally, when they differ, I turn more to D adjusted or delta adjusted gamma exposure. When you say absolute, you mean net, not split. No, I mean split. Right? Notice on the chart on my screen, I'm pointing at the arrow on split chart, not net, the red and green chart. When or what time of day would you consider to see gex flip? Mostly during high impact news times, and any time of day, gex flip will act like a resistance or support any time of the day, guaranteed. What gave you the most conviction today that you'll be able to make money from the longs instead of shorting it today after the data came out? Basically the fact that footprint chart kept going lower and 4,300 stayed. Like I was hoping, so like even when we were at the low, like right here, this, call it hopium, but this shows me fucking hopium. Like that gives me hopium that we go up, right? Once again, right here on net chart, it's the largest as well. So to me, that's just like a very good sign. Also, like the fact that it was still here on split, right? So a numerous amount of things always play a role in terms of what I'm watching. On top of that, I had been watching DXY. DXY was also a low day. So during New York session, right? DXY just looked like it wanted to keep going lower without any signs of like a pop up. So that was another thing that I had been watching. VIX as well looked kind of toppy. Why? Because this, you could even take this. VIX looked a little toppy around here. So kind of just betting with it. Do you use or look at DXY or TNX or VIX, even VIX when making entry decisions? I occasionally, it's not always that I look at it. I mostly base my entries off of like volume profile, fib, or gamma level. DXY and VIX come in a little bit later per se if I'm watching Vana maybe. And whatnot. When it comes to VIX, you can't really do TA. The most you can do is try because VIX follows like a numerical calculation. So VIX TA is kind of fake. Do you still use fib and volume profile on your, yes, always. So like if a gex level lines up with like a fib level, or a gex lines up with fib and volume profile, that's three convictions to go in the opposite direction. So like let's say we push up and we're in fib shorts and then it's also a low volume node, then yes, I will always, that's a play that I will always take because it's high probability per my back testing. What indicator to use for volume profile and trading view? It's something of our, it's a, like an Apex creation. So if you're in TraderLink in the Discord, you just look in chat, look up okay guys. And then you'll see the indicator pop up. That's my volume profile. Oh, am I blind? What the fuck? Yeah. What is the one type of trade you think TraderLink is able to help identify the best? Tops and bottoms. You'll top tick, bottom tick any fucking like every single time. What the fuck is that, Glizzy? I don't even know. What the fuck is this? The dog hot. Bro, you should have seen chat today, man. We had such a good time. Like we're making like we made our chat used to be so good and then it kind of fell off, but it's been back ever since we started the TL analysis channel. Like people are loving it and it's awesome having like the chat revive. Where's Playboy today, man? I got made 60 bands following Gex today. Once you link your Discord, so you go to dashboard and you go to your account. I don't want to open up my account because you'll see it. You'll see all my info, but you click account and then you'll link it to the Discord or you connect it. So on under TraderLink's dashboard, like go to the homepage and then you click account and connect it. It's okay. It's just yeah, look, I think there's one thing like look, at the end of the day, we're a public facing company in the sense of like people see who we are as people, right? And we were just like it was trying to remain so PC was it made chat also very boring. Like I felt like I couldn't talk. Like I'm not gonna go fucking retarded by any means, but like I'm gonna talk more how I usually do. Our ODT con still valid after 9 a.m. PST, 9 a.m. PST. Yeah. Are you looking for 1DT during no, during live streams, I'm nervous about Theta going against me. Okay. So if you're nervous about Theta going against you, take ODTE, but take in the money SPY contracts. They work out very well. How do you tell when market is changing direction? That's like a loaded question. There are many ways to tell, right? I use things like bullish SMT or like footprint chart or volume profile. There's so many different ways you can tell. You can also use Gex levels, right? If there's no interest, the same thing with up here, right? There's no interest above us. So look, I categorize myself as a reversal trader. I will never be a breakout trader. Number one, don't call me that. That's just been how I've traded with Geo for such a long time. Why do we trade reversals versus breakouts? Because you get the best possible entry. Why? Because let's say you're a breakout trader. Oops. Right? And you're trading a triangle, some shit like this. Your entry is going to be like right here for a candle close above, I guess, a breakout, right? Or let's say you take the retest, even right here, right? Say you target something, make sure we use the same targets, right? Where is your stop? Is your stop going to be low of day, or is your stop going to be if it closes a candle closure back under? So let's say it's a candle closure back under, even that, right? Versus something like me, a reversal trader, where I base my trades off of a reversal indication, right? So something like SMT, right here, that level got wiped out. I believe this is the same level. Yeah. So something like that, right? This is my entry. The moment I see that sweep come in right here at this candle, this is my entry. Look at, oh, that's the wrong one. Look at the R to R difference. If we target the same thing, right? That's such a big R to R difference. Let's say my stop is low of day. It's such a big R to R difference that I rather be a reversal trader. Don't ever go full retard. Yup. SMT is when two indices diverge. One takes out a low or a high and the other one does not. So notice here. All right. And the lows and highs need to be made at the same time. Look at the crosshair, right? Make sure you pay attention to the crosshair. Look, these lows were made at the same time. And then ES took it out right here, right? Which is 835. Go to 835 here. Which candle is it? 835 right here. Around here, right? NQ didn't take out that low. That is usually a sign of a reversal. That's SMT. Highs or lows get marked out or taken out. There's tons of YouTube videos on SMT. It's a very wide known like category or like strategy. They go a little more in depth. I just pay attention to highs and lows. Highs and lows get swept on indices and on one indice and the other one doesn't. That's all I pay attention to with SMT. I'm dying at Doc Hot. Yeah, that shit's funny as fuck. But yeah, any more questions? If there are no more questions, I'm gonna end it because I don't want to keep it too long. You guys, for those who are OGs, they know me. I don't like keeping it too long. We've been going like to an hour every time. Can you show us how you would use the footprint chart when anticipating entries for calls? What exactly are you paying attention to? Yes. G moves. Yeah, no problem, Edward. We fucking nailed it today, man. Some shit like this, guys. This is what I'm paying attention to. Like if we get it's very hard because we don't have historical for footprint. And once markets close, it only shows like 3 candles. Maybe an hourly. Okay, some shit like this, negative delta, positive delta, shit like that is what I'm paying attention to. Like I want to see a consistent, like if it's a consistent amount of negative delta like it was today, right under Gex flip, and then all I'm watching for is a break above that Gex flip level with a positive delta carry, right? Because if that green candle is carrying negative delta as it breaks past a level, the odds that it breaks up are very slim. Why? Because sellers are in control. I don't care if it's a fucking green candle, but the difference is that what delta shows you is who is in control. On this candle, it may be green. Most people, when they see a green candle, whether it's a fucking doji green candle or whatever fucking, I don't know the pattern names or candlestick names. If it's a bullish candle with a negative delta, I see that with the footprint chart. Most people don't because they're not paying attention to a footprint chart or don't have access to a footprint chart, right? That's how you catch bottoms. Is like, let's say the stock is going down, right? And then we start getting these upticks. But on those upticks, right, per se, if there's a negative delta on those upticks, the stock is likely to continue either going down or reject a level. Just as it did today when it rejected 40, fucking 75 like 3 times. Shit was a pain in my ass. But yeah, it's like that. That's the main thing I pay attention to. Any thoughts on why it didn't go down after that neg delta? Remember when I was talking when we were going when on live how there was a bunch of negative delta, right, over those candles? Right. If the target is 5,300, you're looking for reasons to break up and continue going up or, so if sellers are if you see the footprint chart as you did in the morning live, right? It is carrying all negative delta, but the target is still above us. So as soon as buyers actually manage to take control of the position, then we can go up. Right? That's the concept, right? It's very much like auction. It's just very simple, I guess, auction theory per se. Right? We're gonna continue to hold this down until bidders come in. Especially the thing is if you see negative delta and we're not selling off, the moment buyers take control, we're going up. Vice versa. If you see positive delta as we're going down, but we're not continuously going, or wait, yeah, and we're not continuously going down, the moment you see a negative delta candle, we're likely to continue. Yeah, that's right. Had to fucking verify with my brain there. Yeah, it's all about sentiment, right? That's the biggest one. Guys, learn the footprint chart. Use it. It is so good. On charts when looking at for Gex flip, is positive gamma used for calls? No, no, no. You can't base off like if there's a bunch of positive gamma, you go long. Like that's a very simple way to view it, which can work. Like, don't get me wrong, if you're in a positive environment and you could like a very positive environment, you could honestly buy calls blindly and just fucking hold them. Like it'll work, but obviously it's not always going to work like that. So you got to be very careful. At times, a big negative positive reverses often. Yeah. Do you have links to study material for footprint chart? Or should I just, yeah, you should just, the thing is with footprint chart, like it's very complicated. People use it so differently, right? I personally pay closer attention to just the overall delta of each candlestick on the 15-minute chart. Post like 7 o'clock AM PST. Um, but yeah, a lot of people use it differently. They identify more importantly like key levels rather than other ways. I'm good with keeping it simple for now. Yeah, you can watch. There's a ton of YouTube videos. Even Umar Ashraf has one on footprint chart. For day trading, do you guys use ODT? Don't ODTs have the same or similar delta, but lower theta? Yeah, but not as much implied volatility changes. So you don't make as much with one DT. You can still make a lot, don't get me wrong, but not as much. So for footprint, negative gamma environment, looking for upticks, vice versa. Positive gamma, you're looking for downticks. Would this be easier to peep end of day if the day is no direction? What kind of day? That's a loaded question too. It's not so much about the environment. It's more so focusing on like, for me, to simplify my trading strategy. First question, what is ABS DGEX? Right? What's the magnet for the day? Second question, where is a good entry? Right? And that's it. To keep it simple. Third entry is like, or third step 3 is look for things to look for things that add to my conviction. If things don't add to my conviction, where can I sell out, or what's a good place to sell out? The different Gex flips. Gex flip is very easy to identify. There's no need to overcomplicate it, man. Like this is a Gex flip. You have positive all here. You have negative all here. Right? Where it flips from negative to positive, that is Gex flip. That is it. Very, very simple. Do not overcomplicate a Gex flip. I look at both. I want to see you. A lot of times they will line up. Like today they lined up at 75. I look at both. More often than not, I will say though, I think Gex flips on raw are a little more clean. There's less like noise per se, I guess. But yeah, raw tends to have more cleaner Gex flips. But if de-adjusted lines up with it, great. That's like double conviction. Is that why it worked? Because raw and de-adjusted lined up together? Not. It's more. It always works better if it's like lined up, but you can. I would also just mark them up on raw. No more with de-adjusted and ABS Gex flip. No, there's no ABS Gex flip. It's absolute ABS DGEX. Absolute delta adjusted gamma exposure, like ABS DGEX. Literally just, guys, write this down right now. If I can get a pen and paper, get your notes. ABS DGEX is the magnet for the day. I don't want to have to keep saying this because it's very, very simple. Like, once again, I keep everything simple for a reason, so it doesn't get overcomplicated. Please just write this down. ABS DGEX is absolute, write this down with me. I'm even writing it down for you guys. Absolute delta adjusted gamma exposure. Okay. Now, to identify it on a chart, what is it? It is the largest bar on split. Largest bar, largest bar on split. Okay. Now let's look at this chart right here. What is the largest bar? 5,300. That is your magnet. Not MR. I'm gonna scream at you. Thick latimus. How does DDOI play into my early buys? Personally, anything on DDOI that is sold plays into my bias. Because not often will you see sold positions. Those give more direction than anything else. Sold puts at 52.40, whatever, bullish. Why? Because dealers will want to keep price above this because they make the most credit. Think about it. If you were in sold puts, wouldn't you want to keep it above your price so that you can just collect the premium and not get exercised? Because keep in mind, there is no exercising on SPX. It's just cash settle. Meaning if it goes below that and it goes higher than what you sold the premium at, you are fucked. You don't get assigned shares. You just get clapped. Yeah, sold calls are bearish. That is your bearish wall. Is there days when you don't touch or go close to ABS? Not often. Not often. Like 85% of the time, you will always pretty much tap the ABS DGEX on the day. Would you keep in mind or consider the largest call side on DDOI strictly just the put side? No, not strictly just the put side, guys. I said strictly sold positions. Sold positions. If there was a sold call here, I'd be paying attention to that. I don't pay attention to any bought positions. They have no weight in my mind. They have zero weight in my mind. Just sold positions. Yeah, no problem. Look, I'm only getting aggressive because this is something that is simple and it should be easy to learn in the sense of like, okay, magnet is there. I will look for an entry to use that as my price target. Sold position, bullish. I mean, sold put position, bullish. Sold call position, bearish. Right? I keep it simple. I've spent hours in classes like teaching this over and over again. I want people to get it in their heads so that when they see something like it on the chart, they can actually recognize it on their own. That's the biggest thing. I I don't care for signals. Signals are fun and they're great, but I rather not put signals out there if it's not necessary. Why rely on somebody when you can do it yourself? That is the biggest thing. You need to be able to do. On Gex, would Chop look like some mid-sized bars, a few low bars, and then more mid-sized bars? Mid-sized bars, Chop usually tends to happen when you're at a Gex level, like something like this. Let's say this is intraday and we're at 5,300, right? We're just there and there's nothing else. There's literally nothing else, right? There's nothing else. That to me is chop or bullshit. And that's a position I'm not going to play. Don't shoot. Can I see the difference in settings with de-adjusted gex from ABS? I have no idea what that means. ABS de-gex, guys. It's just delta adjusted split. That's literally it. That's not. And then it's large bar. What's your analysis for tomorrow, Sheen? When it comes tomorrow, I will send it out. There's no personally, like, there's no point in looking at data on the previous day. It just doesn't make sense. Above 5,300, 5,325, I guess. Not a newbie question because occasionally it kind of glitches out. So like on the regular charts, you'll see if I refresh the dashboard on like SPX, it'll normally just take the ODTE, right? So if you go to like Nvidia or like any other ones, it may not work. Like, see, it's taking a while to work. So you have to select the Friday and then it'll work. Has DDoI updated as of EOD or not until the time in the morning? Not until the time in the morning. It can't update until basically market open. No, I completely understand. You're truly passionate about this field and topic. Yeah, I appreciate it. I don't even know what real truly works. Thank you, man. Truly works. Platform provides. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Put in the hours. Guys, the tough part about stuff like this strategy or like using the data and like learning the data is like, I'll be honest, we don't have historical data other than screenshots. So it's hard to go back and kind of like look, even with like his Liquidos's streams, like or the recordings that he sends. It's very tough still because it's always changing. There's occasionally you'll see patterns repeat on the data, but it's like even then the best way that I can recommend to use it is use it as confluence. Use it as bonus confluence to a strategy you already use, right? Does the data line up with the TA that you have? And then obviously we have those daily levels to implicate in, right? Which we'll be releasing soon. So I don't have to keep posting it. It'll be on the dashboard hopefully by the end of this month. Or middle of this month. No. ABS DGEX is on de-adjusted GEX on the module. Yeah, that's why I do my best. Fucking stumbling on words. I do my best to send screenshots with whatever analysis I'm putting out. So when it comes time to review for everyone, it's very easy. It's like when I was learning, I would wish somebody was doing that for me. So it's like instead of like, okay, you know how people send out signals? Like, give me a reason why you're taking the fucking signal. You know? Like I want it, why the fuck like just give me the damn reason so I can try to learn. Making money with people is great, but why don't you help them learn a fucking tool, a skill that will last them a lifetime? Thank you, Will. All right, guys, I'm gonna end the live stream here. 47 minutes on live today, so let's cut it off. We'll be back on it tomorrow. Hopefully we have another banger day. If you guys enjoyed the class, enjoyed my words of wisdom, enjoyed me screaming at you, tag us on Twitter, TraderLink Apex, tag Sheen Trades, just a little shout out would be great. We'll like and retweet it as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'll catch you guys in the morning and we'll kill it again. Everyone have a great rest of your guys' evening. And as always, keep moving forward.